My name is Dary. I'm the Executive Director of Mission Aviation Training Academy. This year an opportunity came to serve Cochrane Hills Bible Camp in Upper Yukon. It's about 170 miles west of Fairbanks. Matta had never served the camp before. It was a new area to me, and one of the consistent messages we heard was we could really use more help. So the goal this year was to make the connection, see if it was a fit for Matta, and then also to learn more about Cochrane and how best to serve them. We had 3 students that had not been into the operational flying in their training as missionary aviators. So the primary purpose was to introduce them to what the decision-making processes are, the weight and balance, the operations in a remote area, short airstrip, high wind landings and takeoffs, and then just working with people from different cultures, different backgrounds from all over the country. So I'd say weather was definitely the most difficult and challenging of the whole trip. The second was the smoke and the fires. While we were up there, we had about 70 fires start in the area, and it was just really hard flying in the smoke, getting into your lungs. Your eyes were watering. Several times we had to fly instruments to navigate because we just couldn't see very well. It was a blessing to be able to watch Cochrane Hills serve its people and all the kids they brought in and all the counselors that flew in to support the camp.
I'm Casey Underwood, and I'm part of a 3-year maintenance internship, and I'm currently in the middle of instrument flight training. My role was to help get the plane up there, and then if there was a chance to fly some kids into camp, then I would get to see that. So we left here, I believe, around 8 in the morning, went up north to Abbotsford. We left Abbotsford shortly after and on up through the trench. Then we landed at Watson Lake, refueled there. As far as the eye could see, it was just mountains and trees. Hardly a place to land. There were several delays. You know, we were able to stop in a little place called Carcross, just south of Whitehorse. We stayed the night with a missionary there. We flew from there, that was up in the Yukon, over to Anchorage. We had to divert to Anchorage because of customs, essentially. We stayed in a guest house, and that was just a huge blessing. Again, you know, a delay that we didn't want due to smoke. Biggest takeaway for me, you know, we had our plan going up there, what we wanted, how long we wanted it to take us, and yet there were multiple delays. But God still used those delays. In fact, I think they were meant to be. Had we not been delayed, we wouldn't have the opportunity to minister to the people on the way up there.
My name is Hooke, and I am here as a pilot mechanic, primarily working as a mechanic for Matta, and then flying on the side. I just flew straight from Seattle to Fairbanks commercially. As soon as I arrived at Fairbanks, we had to fly about 400 pounds of food out to the camp for 2 hours, and then as soon as we arrived, we unpacked the food, and one of the first things we saw when we got there was a kid who was injured, and the medical staff there was trying to decide whether or not we would need to evacuate the kid and bring him to a hospital. The kid was okay, and allowing him to recover there at the camp, so we didn't have to fly him out. My role as a team member for the trip was doing pre-flights, making sure the plane was in working condition, that it was clean, ready for campers to use it. And a lot of it was actually evaluating weather. Because of weather, that was kind of limited, and my role changed to being more of a, I guess, a counselor in a way of building relationships with the kids and trying to influence and encourage them in their walk with Christ. And so during that whole week, my role was kind of working as a pilot mechanic and primarily just helping the camp work and invest in the kids there. So Cochrane Hills, if you ask them like what kind of camp they are, they would say Cochrane Hills is a Bible camp, meaning that their primary purpose of being there is to read the Bible, study the Bible with the campers that come, and so that they can grow in their relationship with God and get to know who He is. And so it's a small camp that has made a big impact from what I've seen and heard in Alaska for many of miles around it. So it's a really cool camp.
My name is DeVlieger. I've been a student here at MATA, worked through all of my ratings here. Okay, so to Cochrane Hills, basically I flew up commercial because the airplane had already been up there for about 2 weeks. So they had 3 airplanes, but you know, I mean, they were flying up to 55 kids for the camp for the week, so that's a lot of kids to move. My role was kind of dual purpose. Originally, I was supposed to basically get some infield training with Dary in the 206. Flying kids and cargo into the camp, kind of some dual instruction in that, kind of just being flexible and figuring things out on the fly and just trying to chip in and help out wherever I could. We actually were part of a med evac from camp to Fairbanks, so kind of got to use my skills from my current employment to help monitor the patient and get them safely to Fairbanks. And as part of that, en route we experienced a bus 1 failure on the airplane, so ended up going into Fairbanks Nordo, which is, you know, kind of I would say probably the most significant in-flight event that I've been exposed to in my aviation so far. So that was neat to not only work through from my perspective in the back, where I felt a little bit helpless not being able to help out, at least just fly the airplane while Dary kind of worked through the problem. But Dary did a great job working through the problem, came up with a alternate means of communication with the tower, and everything went, you know, very safe. I mean, the airplanes stayed running smooth the entire time, and then got to meet some neat folks in Fairbanks while we worked on fixing the airplane so we could return flight back to Cochrane. Having the chapels and listening to them sing, I mean, it was impactful to me, and you can just see the light in those kids, and I think it's very significant. The trip home, because I got to help ferry the 206 back to Arlington, and just seeing God's creation from the air is always impactful to me. The verse that always kind of comes to mind for me is I think it's Luke 19:40, where it talks about, you know, if we say nothing, the rocks will shout, and I think that, you know, in that context, it's really talking about sharing the love of Christ. So I think that you see that at the camp, but also I think when you look at creation, it's just amazing to see what God can create by just speaking.